So I was scrolling through Twitter, as I am wont to do, want with an O. I love that word. And I saw aMSa make a really interesting post, and I thought to myself, like, this is actually something that I've kind of had on my mind for some time, but I've never quite I've conceptualized it, but I've never quite put it into words myself. I've never quite verbalized it myself. This is the thread, and I'm going to translate this thread on stream, and I'm going to break down what aMSa was talking about. aMSa basically said, I think whiff punishing actually sucks in Melee. I think playing and again, let me compartmentalize this for you guys. Here's the language I'm going to use, the vernacular I'm going to use. The RPS is, you can play reactively, you can play proactively. I call it proactively, where if someone's dash dancing in the corner, you can like run in and overshoot like a running shine or something. And then to beat that, you've got to throw out moves in place. And I call this playing preemptively of the neutral of Melee. And if you're confused by what I just said, you're going to want to watch this video I made where I think I broke it down pretty eloquently. And I talked about, this is the three structure. They call it the three structure, I guess. But in Japanese, it's okiwaza, atewaza, and sashikaishi, but I will be calling it preemptive play, proactive play, and reactive play. aMSa basically says sashikaishi. Sashikaishi is another way to say atewaza, basically. Sashikaishi literally means, sashikaishi is whiff punish. And aMSa basically says, I want to talk about how in Melee, I think whiff punishing is actually relatively weak. It is relatively weak. And by the way, I want to put this out there. This is a realization I made recently. Unranked is bad for several reasons. One of the reasons is people on unranked play the RPS and Melee as if these three options are more balanced than they really are, because their drift is bad. Even though, yes, it is true that the way you beat whiffed aerials or whiffed moves is by whiff punishing them, in theory, reactively, reacting and whiff punishing. The thing about Melee is there are so many different ways to actually whiff moves. There are so many, because look at all the ways I can do a drill. I can do a drill in place. I can do a retreating drill. I can do the fucking, if I'm playing, especially it's maybe easier with Falco, but you can do the, look at it, I can drift back and drift forward. I can drift forward and then drift back. I can be dash dancing and I can do that. I can drift forward and then back. I can be dash dancing and I can like do a full retreating. See that? I can do a forward drill that I drift back. I can do a fully retreating drill. All of the timings for how to, and then, you think about characters like Marth that can auto cancel their whiffed moves, and they have insane drift and they can cover their landings. You'll hear me use this phrase quite a bit. Covering your landing is basically as soon as you land doing something like, turn on up tilt or like doing a shine, or you'll even see people do like spot dodge or simply just dash back, right? Or even dash forward. You'll see Marths come down with forwarder and then they'll like forwarder dash forward, expecting people to want to punish their dash back. How do you beat punishing someone dash, or how do you beat it when your opponent wants to punish their dash back? You can even dash forward, right? You can go like that and dash behind them. There are a million ways to whiff an aerial, such that it's actually pretty complicated to actually get a true whiff punish on a move. Look at Sheik or Peach, characters that usually don't have end lag on their aerials. Sheik is going to auto cancel or forward air. Peach is going to do float cancel aerials, and you're not being, the way that you see people try to punish aerials when those sorts of characters throw moves out, they usually do it by way of, well, they don't punish the aerial, actually. They actually usually wait until you do something after the aerial, and they try to either read that or react to that instead. And then they punish that. But the higher and higher and higher you go in terms of skill level in Melee, the less you see predictable whiff punishes. You see it less and less and less and less. You'll see Mango. I remember Drug Fox told me this. And ever since Drug Fox told me this, he was like, this is the Mango in neutral. Obviously, there's a lot of things that are the Mango, but he was like, this is the Mango in neutral. You do overshoot, you do undershoot, overshoot. And he'll do this with Falco. He'll do like drift back dare, and then he'll do like laser forward smash or something like that. This is all to say that Mango is intentionally whiffing an aerial to purposely throw off your whiff punish spacing and timing, right? This is something that Mango does really, really well. He does it really, really often. Even though it looks like you can get a whiff punish, they can actually, like do their move in such a way that you don't really actually get a whiff punish. And so trying to anticipate a move that you can properly whiff punish is actually kind of pointless. Then he goes on to break down the RPS itself. 1, 2, 3. So 1 is Sashikaishi no Tame no Yosumi, which is like dash dancing and waiting to looking for something to react to, playing reactively, looking for something to react to whip punish and reaction. 2 is Waza no Oki, which is Waza no Oki. Waza is move, Oki is placing. So it's like 2 is placing a move, throwing out a hitbox. 3 is Fukame no Sashikomi, which is like, well, overshooting. So yeah, can we please, editor, please let's find that and get that in the video. That video aMSa posted where Mango literally just starts every game with running up undershoot dare. Yeah, no, Mango abuses the out of this. Like, if there's one thing that's like actually the Mango, it's that. He does it so much. He does it so much. He actually structures this whole gameplay. It's really obvious when he fights Marth, because you know what Marth is looking for. Marth is always looking for that whiff punish grab, right? And to do it successfully against Marth, you have to be a lot more accurate, a lot more precise, because Marth has a much bigger grab than every other character, right? So he says there are a lot of times, this is basically saying there are a lot of times where you try to throw out, they throw out a move, but it's thrown out in such a way that even if you go for the whiff punish, like, you're not quite going to get there in time, and they'll be able to like spot dodge. They'll be able to spot dodge or whiff punish or something like that, right? And he's saying that basically 2 and 3, so putting out moves in place, doing like retreating aerials or doing moves in place, and overshooting moves, fundamentally you're using moves, and you can basically kind of refine your number 2 and your number 3 in this neutral game triangle, this RPS. And at high level, aMSa is basically staking the claim that you can basically build your entire neutral game around 2 and 3 only. Doing moves in place or retreating aerials and overshoot aerials, and basically almost never actually looking to whiff punish. Now, I do think this changes based on the character you play. By the way, Tiger 2777, thank you for the tier 1. For example, a character like Marth is naturally going to look for a little bit more whiff punish. But even with the character like Marth, a lot of the time you're not actually looking to whiff punish. Even a character like Marth, a lot of the time he's looking to set himself up in a position where he might be able to whiff punish, and then bait out a spot dodge, something that he knows he can concretely actually punish on reaction, and then punish that. And aMSa is basically saying, like the degree I believe in this theory is to the point where, like, the only time you actually do one is when, like, you've conditioned your opponent to, when you've conditioned your opponent to basically throw out moves in such a way that you know for a fact you can get the whiff punish. That's when, like, that's the rate at which you do one, like, reactive, preemptive, and proactive. It is to the point that you only actually do the reactive stuff, i.e. whiff punishing, when you've got them conditioned to where you know you can punish their move, right? Most of the time, you're not really banking on it because it's so much more low risk to play with mostly reactive moves and proactive moves. And this is exactly what he's saying. Recently, the way I've been structuring my neutral game is like I just either do moves in place, and I do retreating aerials, right, in such a way that if the opponent looks to do an overshoot, it'll hit them. Like, I'll hit them on the way in. So I'm just playing Yoshi. This probably looks like for example, a short hop retreating forward there, right? Let's say I go for an overshoot. He's probably going to hit me with his forwarder as I'm running on the way in. He's going to get a knockdown. It's going to lead to a punish. And he says, by the way, this kind of option selects. Shikomi is kind of a slang word in the FGC in Japan that they use to mean basically option select. So he's saying, by the way, incidentally, this kind of option selects holding down. This also beats like this kind of style of play, intercepting the opponent with. So this could also be like doing down tilts in place or something. Incidentally, a lot of the time you can OS crouch cancels, so to speak. So you'll also get some counterplay that way, even when you weren't really looking for it, if they come in with some kind of half-hearted approach or something. And then he says the other thing he does is reading dash back and doing a deep overshoot. And aMSa says in this tweet, and this is going to sound really familiar if you've played actually a lot of other genres of video games too, not just fighters, but like shooters. This ties into what aMSa says in this tweet, which is the one thing you don't want to do in Melee is try to place a move exactly where the opponent is. You never want to do that. They're moving. The one thing you don't want to do is place the move exactly where the opponent is, because this loses. This is the way you make yourself easy to whiff punish. And this is the reason that I think unranked is bad practice for neutral game. Because when I go on unranked and I play my Marth, dude, Falcos just short hop downer at me. And they, like, literally, I will sit there and I will demonstrate this to you guys. Dude, it is crazy. This is why unranked gives you a false idea of how people play neutral in melee. This is what Falcos do. They go that's not a laser. They do, okay, look, they do laser in and then they do full downer in. And so what do I do as Fox? I take the laser and then I go like that. And I win neutral for free, or as Marth, or as Falcon. I literally take laser, dash back, and you beat it's just, and nobody above a certain skill level, if you're actually going to tournaments, if you're playing real, strong melee players, nobody plays like this. Unranked will have you thinking aMSa's talking out of his ass. I'm telling you, it's so bad, dude. It's so bad. This is the reason. I finally put my finger on it. I think this is the reason that I think unranked beyond a certain level of execution and beyond a certain level of understanding is bad practice, because it will give you the wrong idea of how people play neutral. It's good for combo practice. That's about it. So this is like, he's basically saying, by the way, one more thing. So like if you're doing moves in place, when the opponent tries to whiff punish, they are basically doing a version of attacking the opponent exactly where they're at. Which, remember, is the one thing in high-level melee you really don't want to do too often. So you're in a good spot, because if you can catch them, you can in other words, you can bait them this way, right? You can basically bait them in this manner. Yeah. He's basically saying this is where you can actually get, you can bait your opponent and get openings that way, because if they're looking to whiff punish you for doing like retreating aerials or moves in place, they're going to be attacking exactly the spot you're at. So this is where you can get tricky with your movement, tricky with your drift, and you're actually going to be able to open your opponent up simply by baiting them into thinking they had a whiff punish when they really didn't. Okay, you wanna call me? I have a story for you, aMSa. I have a story for you.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey, what's up, aMSa? Chat, can you hear aMSa?